This is Trophy, the Scoundrel's Quarter, Part 15. As I've been saying all week on all my games, I have a brand new puppy this week. And so if you see me turning away and looking away, or if I just immediately leave the call for some reason, that's what is happening. I am dealing with my dog. She should be okay, though. She's been really good all week. So that's one thing I want to throw out there before we begin. And then I think we should go ahead and just slide into our recap. We are at what I believe is probably going to be the end of the Rhine Palace incursion. It's been going on for a bit. The characters had just finished participating in a sort of ball that the Rhyme Court nobles, these Fey nobles, have. They have a real particular ally in Lady Peril. I don't know how much that allyship is worth because she's still a Fey noble and probably very fickle. This group of people they're very clearly like very fattish and very kind of mean girls vibes in a lot of ways. They seem like they're easy to flatter and manipulate if you need to, but in any case, Lady Peril in particular is quite smitten with Torum, and I believe Sir Quest had. I think one of you has Sir Quest in his wrapped around your finger, possibly if I'm remembering correctly. I don't remember who it was though.
That was Cassian.
It was a Cassian, okay. And we had just finished this. They just basically had an orgy at the end that concluded the party. And I think we just find you again all together, along with Editha, in the Masquerade Garden. Um, it's this vast wintry garden, the marble dance floor that previously, when you stepped on it, turned into a ballroom, is now just a marble dance floor again. And you have these frost-dusted topiaries. You came up from one of the topiaries, up from Lady Peril's quarters. You came up from some stairs, up through one of the topiaries of a pair of lovers. You probably heard rumors throughout the gala about the Rhyme Throne, and indeed, where is the king? The king, and is maybe on his throne, maybe not. The palace itself. I think that maybe his absence has been noted. He was physically not at the ball, but also the topiary that was built in his honor is really shabby looking. I think something of a reflection of his state. You have a set goal, which is to find the stairs to the Rhyme Throne. This is not something your characters know about, but I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that if there's secret passageway under one set of topiaries, there might be a secret passageway under other topiaries because there's no other apparent way out of this garden. So, alternatively, you can try to make your way back to Ardkin and figure out a way to get the hell out of here. There's kind of nothing really keeping you here. You know where you parked Ardkin. You can try to go back and try to figure out how to get back home, which is your ostensible goal. And you are doing better on treasures than you were last time. You won some things at the Hall of Games. A few of you got, or maybe all of you got, beautiful Fey raiments, which are worth money. So you're in better shape as far as meeting your burdens goes. And so I think I just want to pick up with the scene of everybody together if there's no other questions or anything, and then I'll interrupt as needed. And I just want to see where we're going, what we're doing here. But right now you're in this masquerade garden that has only one entrance, which is the way you came. So, or one exit, rather. One apparent exit. Well, two. There's the stairs going down to Lady Peril's chambers, and then there's the doorway that the other character came through. So,
Well, I can cross face sex off my bucket list.
It was on your bucket list?
I don't think it was, but now that I've seen it, I think maybe it should have been.
I don't think it was on my bucket list.
Yeah.
I could have done without that.
It's
Very much.
It's kind of sparkly though, kind of in that interesting sort of like quartz way. But anyway, this this king that we've kind of heard about, do we think that he can maybe help us out in getting us out of here?
I think he is our best hope.
Coram, do you think your friend might be able to give us a little nudge in the right direction? If you lay on the charm? You have charm, right?
I think that is for me to judge, Magda. But I will speak to her.
There is an
And-
additional complication.
Which is
I made a bargain with the games warden to assist in your recovery from the toxin. I promised I would try to grant him freedom.
Perhaps the
toxin?
king can assist with that.
Perhaps, although if it is the king who put him there, perhaps not.
given how desperate he was to get out of that position, I'm just gonna guess that he was never very successful at trying to get out. So I don't think he would be the most helpful. And I mean, this may sound kind of shady, but if he's over there and we're over here, is he really gonna care?
I'm sure he will care, but whether he is in any position to do anything about it. Nevertheless, Cassian, if you're a man of your word,
I try on occasion. If we see an opportunity, we should pursue it.
Exactly. Out of
Very well,
character.
then.
Oh,
let
Out of
me speak
character.
to Lady Peril.
oh, sorry.
Jack, go ahead.
Out of character. Does anyone want to put in hunt tokens to finding the staircase? If not, I would like to use my hunt tokens to find treasure.
I was hoping to find some treasure too.
Okay.
I don't have any hunt tokens.
I have one.
I have 2. I'm fine going either way though. Just wanted to put it out there.
Maybe let's see if Lady Peril can help for
Okay.
Yes.
And yes, I would like to use my hunt tokens to find treasure then.
Sounds good. Let me take a look at what might be here in this set. And if not, I will. Was one of you gifted a peacock at some point?
Yes, I was.
Do you have that currently still in your?
I imagine I've just been carrying it around under the arm that isn't carrying the papoose.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it might have like a little it probably has like a little crystal collar and leash, you know.
Ooh,
if you
even
wanna
better,
just
yeah. Like a little
guide
leash,
it
yeah.
around. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so the peacock is sorted. Let me pull up Loom actually and see if we have some treasures in there. Let me get inspired here.
I think Cassian will kind of tilt over and say, Malkuth, are you intending to start a menagerie?
I'm not intending to start a menagerie.
We will have to discuss your living arrangements.
I think as you are kind of walking around trying to figure out where to go, what to do next, your boot, Malkuth, kicks something kind of soft, but it makes a rattling noise. It is a small leather pouch. And if you open it up, inside you see that it contains ancient oracle bones, ribs, and scapula. They have been heated and cracked in patterns that only a trained diviner could translate, but is nevertheless worth 1 gold. And you said you were spending 2?
Yes.
I'm going to just make the 2nd gold to be the crystal collar and or the jeweled collar and leash of the peacock. So. Cassian, are you trying to find treasure before you leave the party, or what?
Yes, please.
All right, very good.
I just have the one.
Yeah, I think yours is going to be something that was handed to you on the dance floor, or at the ballroom. You were given. Oh, I don't think it was given to you, but I think one of the Rhyme Court nobles was touching up her makeup, and she actually set down her little case, and it stayed there all night. And you just retrieved it at some point. It is a black rosewood cosmetics case inlaid with triangular ivory patterns, containing small gemstone jars of pigments, ointments, and some substances you can't quite identify. And there is a silver pendant of an owl's head resting at the bottom of it. Collectively, it's worth 1 gold.
And if everyone else is trading in hunt tokens for gold, I might as well join them.
Indeed. You received a gift from Lady Peril, another gift, which is a hand mirror of polished obsidian framed in ebony with a jagged knotwork pattern. It is a magic item, because sometimes when you look at it, it shows something that can't be seen by the naked eye. Magda, what are you doing right now?
I think, if the others are looking for treasure, I'm going to be wandering around looking for a way out. Probably poking at the topiaries. Oh, she's so cute.
I can't stand it. It's so cute.
She's so cute.
There you go. Yeah. What were you saying, Magda? Oh, sure.
Oh,
What a doll.
Hi. Yeah,
Hi,
good.
Charlie.
It's time to calm down. You're on
Good.
camera. You're on
I'm
YouTube.
happy.
All right, here, sit. Sorry, Magda, continue.
Since everybody else is looking for treasure, I'm going to poke around and see if I can find a way out. Probably around the topiaries, since we know there's always stuff hidden at the base of fancy things like topiaries.
Indeed. Make a hunt roll. Which topiary in particular?
Oh gosh, I don't remember what they look like.
They're all just, with the exception of the one that's the king, they're all just different posed topiaries of lovers.
Yeah. I think I'll go for the one that looks like the king, because it's the king and that's who we're looking for. It checks out. I don't really have any skills that help me here. I'm not very skilled in thinking.
What'd you get?
I got a 6, light 6.
Oh, nice.
I got a
Yeah.
token.
Get your token. And indeed, so this topiary king, it's the most notable of the topiaries because it's the biggest, and it has a crown rendered in plant sculpture. It is also the only one that's a depiction of a single being rather than a couple. It has been overgrown with glassy thorns, and the mirror roses here grow much more wildly, but their mirrored glass petals are dulled. It is probably if you had not gotten such a good roll, I probably would have caused the thorns to hurt you in some way, but I think you're managing to kind of, how are you like managing to sort of look beneath the thorns without injuring yourself?
I think I'm just being very careful about it. I think after falling down the ladder or climbing up all the ladders and falling down all the snakes in my game that I just played, I'm feeling a little bit more strategic. I'm feeling a little bit more cautious about things and taking my time, not rushing it.
Indeed, if you can see that beneath the little kind of the topiary is in this like large kind of stone pot, right? And you can see that the stone pot it has just a slight gap between it and the ground beneath. And from that gap, there is a cool breeze coming up from it.
Oh, I know what this is about. I've seen this before. And I'm gonna, oh, I hope it doesn't break. I'm gonna push the topiary, the jar as hard as I can.
You can. It pushes aside. You are mighty in strength, and well, it might take a couple of you, as long as you have somebody helping you. I think you and Torm could probably do it for sure, because it's quite heavy. But assuming that you get some help, beneath it, indeed, there is another one of these spiraling staircases, much like the one that led to and from Lady Peril's boudoir. What do you do?
Torm, whose room do you think this leads to?
Perhaps I do not need to seek Lady Peril's help after all. It seems you have found the way.
It seems like a lot of people hide stairwells under statues and topiaries.
It does seem to be the common habit in this place.
I'm going to take out I'm going to take out my whistle and sort of lean down towards the stairwell and blow into my whistle to see how long it echoes for, to see how deep it goes.
Oh, that's a great move. Make a 2-die hunt roll.
Light 6. I mean, this is the best day of my life.
Yeah, take another token. It goes down really far. The report takes a while to come back. The echo, that is. So it is pretty deep. And also, strangely enough, the echo sounds weirdly like something in the air actually affects the sound, makes it sound crisper, more delicate, like very, very fine blown glass crackling beneath a boot.
What do you make of that?
I'm not sure.
Is there light coming up from here, or is it just the cool breeze?
There is no light.
I'm going to light one of my torches and start heading down the stairwell.
What's everyone else
And from
doing?
where we are, can we see that there's more of the palace like up, or are we on the highest level of the palace?
You're kind of in a you're definitely in a more outer part for sure. I would say that you could probably reach some higher terraces or crenellations in this palace, but if you remember, the palace is upside down, so it makes sense that the grandest part of the palace is lower, right?
Right.
If Lady Peril explained to me the nature of this mirror that she gave me, I think I would like to use that to, as we go down the stairs with Magda holding the torch, I'll use the mirror to see if there's anything perhaps not visible normally.
Yeah. I love that, actually. Make a 2-die hunt roll.
A 6.
The die roller coming through for you all today. Yes, there is. If you take your time and you use the mirror to help you navigate down the stairs, you will notice that one of the steps, about halfway down this spiraling staircase, has what appears to be a glowing rune etched into the icy stone. It is not visible with the naked eye, but you can see it in this polished obsidian mirror. What do you do?
Magda, wait. This step. There is something. There is a symbol here.
I don't see any symbol.
Look in the mirror.
That's strange. What do you think it means?
Could be some manner of ward.
Does anyone in the party have like symbols or a skill that might help them determine what it is?
I do have a staff, though.
What's the you have a what now?
A staff. I could poke it from afar.
Oh, I see. Just to see what happens when you poke it. That's certainly a possibility. Anything else? We're gonna let Cassian poke it.
I'm down for that, or I can try to maybe I don't know, walk the peacock towards it, see what happens. But I think we probably want to go with staff first, unless it puts him in danger.
Staff it is.
Staff it
Yeah,
is.
I'm on
Cassian
team
will-
poke it. I like
Yeah, I like it.
Please go ahead and I don't need a roll. You touch the staff with or you touch the rune with the staff, and a burst of magical cold envelops the staff completely. Indeed, runs through the staff like water through a cup, freezing the staff so solidly and so cold that the staff just crumbles in your hand. Erase it from your gear, but the trap is sprung.
Cassian will look at the shattered remains of the staff and say, "I really liked that one."
Maybe there's like a cool crystal staff we can find for you here.
Better the staff than one of us, Cassian. Look at it that way.
Editha says,
No argument.
I was going to volunteer to touch it. That's not true.
Well, since it's cold, what if we touch it with fire? And I hold up my torch.
Oh, it's gone. The rune is gone. It's done.
Oh.
Mm.
Well, yeah, if the trap is triggered, I guess we'll keep going, right?
Perhaps
Let us
with
be
the mirror
wary for further
away.
traps.
As long as you, I assume you're going to be very careful now going down the steps, but there is nothing else as far as you can tell. That was the only trap like it. But you may have put whoever's down there on alert. And so as you reach the bottom of the stairs, the stairs end at a little landing, and then right next to or adjoining the landing, there is a doorway of some sort that goes into some kind of chamber. What are you going to do before you reach the bottom?
We see the landing from where we're at, right?
You do.
Is it big or is it sort of just like the
It's
staircase
quite
goes
narrow.
straight into
Yeah, it's quite
Okay,
narrow.
all right.
Yeah.
Magda, you've got your shield, right?
I hold up the shattered pieces of shield. No. I do
Yeah.
still have my very fancy armor, though. Do you think they'll let us keep this? Once we leave, I mean.
I would assume so. Torm, you're very large. Do you want to maybe, I don't know, get in front of us?
No, I can lead if that is what you're looking for. I just wonder if perhaps we should call out, make ourselves known. They know we're here, whoever's down here. Why not introduce ourselves in a friendly manner, or at least non-antagonistic?
I guess we're dressed the part.
Hello,
Does anyone still have their
whoever's down
mask?
here.
Does
I
anyone
think
still have
so.
their mask?
I think so, yes.
Does anybody not have their mask? Maybe that's the better question.
I don't.
Malkuth does not. Okay. Yeah, so Magda, you call out.
It is I, Magda, of the bright-toothed star of the north. The story, of course. I'm sure you know of me.
There's no reply.
I think Torum whispers to Cassian, what are these stories she mentions constantly? The title there sounded like she was making it up on the spot.
I'm not entirely convinced she isn't.
Hello. It is I, Magda of the tale of Magda and the Beast of Malfin's End. Is there anyone here?
There's no reply.
I don't think anyone's here. They would have come out to speak with me otherwise.
Unless they're crystal spiders.
Or they're waiting to ambush us.
Both seem realistic possibilities. Still,
There's
we
only-
cannot tarry here forever. Let's be on our way.
Yeah.
And I think Torum will kind of shoulder his way past Magda and lead the way with the mirror held up, trying to, in case there's anything untoward going on.
The set goal is met, and you are now in a new set, the Rhyme Throne. The spiral staircase brings you down to the lowest tip of the Hanging Palace, a shimmering, cold room of ice and crystal, dominated by a massive throne. Around the throne is a ring of a half-dozen still sentries, imposing and silent. These sentries are hulking figures fully covered in icy armor, helmets crowned by imposing antlers, and they are wielding a variety of obsidian weapons: bows, spears, axes, clubs. The throne itself, it is massive, carved into a quartz pillar, and covered in hoarfrost. It dominates the center of the room, and there is a crowned skeleton. A skeleton of a being significantly smaller than the Feyborn, seated on the throne, quite dead. Delicate silver chains wind around this seemingly human skeleton, wearing a crown. The chains seem to bind it to this royal chair.
Can I do a hunt roll? Using my paths skill, I'd like to see if there's been any movement, anybody else down here recently-ish.
Yes, you may. Go ahead and roll 2 dice.
There's the luck that ran out. 3 and a 2.
3 and a 2. As you step into the throne room, Malkuth, you realize too late that there were actually 8 sentries. You see boot prints in the hoarfrost that lead from their sentry position to either side of the entrance into the throne room. Those 2 sentries are now descending upon you with their obsidian pole arms. It is a combat. They are combined, a combat and endurance 10. If you're participating in the combat, please roll weak point.
Sure thing. My weak point is 2. And I'm weak because I'm not wearing a kind of armor. Overwhelmed by these sentinels, and I've got a peacock and an egg on me.
Hands are
My
full.
weak point is 4, and I'm vulnerable because I'm big and there's not so much room to maneuver here.
I no longer have a weapon.
Ah, that's an issue.
Am I?
You can't do the combat.
All right.
And so let's give Amanda a minute to return. So let's just go ahead and take our first break. We'll take 5. Magda, while you stepped away, Malkuth discovered that a pair of sentries were lying in wait on either side of the entrance into the throne room. They're swinging down their obsidian halberds. Malkuth has weak point on the table of 2. Torum has a weak point of 4. Cassian cannot do the combat because Cassian has no weapon, unless someone gives Cassian a weapon. Obviously, that can happen if anybody has a weapon to spare. And I'm waiting to see
Or you
if
can still use rituals, right?
yeah, you can use rituals to
Mine
try to.
aren't.
No, here's another
Not
type. Yeah,
very offensive.
you could. Yeah, you could fight at a distance with a ritual to see if you could lower them, or if you had the type of ritual that would let you have a weapon. And neither of yours are good for that. So,
Can
Magda,
we give backpack equipment as a weapon?
it has to be a weapon.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Magda, do you have a weapon? And can you do the combat? Are you?
Yeah, I still have my my longsword, so I am jumping into action.
What is your weak point?
I also have a weak point of 2.
All right, so it's 2 2s and a 4. How are you vulnerable right now?
We're taken by, well, Magda is taken by surprise, especially the fact that there were people there and they didn't respond to her name, Magda, which is really shocking.
It's a combat 3. They are an endurance 10. Please, Malkuth, why don't we give you the honors here? Woof. 2 2s and a 3. Certainly not enough to defeat them, and it looks like Magda and Malkuth are both taking to ruin unless you mark an armor. Let's start the combat. Malkuth, you've been taken by surprise. Kick it off.
Yeah. So obviously noticing this split second, I don't even think I noticed it. I think the peacock starts to like squawk and gets agitated seeing them. And I'm like trying to reel her in, and then I see reel him in rather. And then they descend on me. Both of them swing at the same time. One of them takes the back of my like fancy gala attire, and I'm going to be marking that. And sort of rakes it off and sort of so it's all tattered and stuff like that. Question though, because there are 2 2s in there, would I have to mark 2 armor in order to?
No, 1
Okay.
armor marks all the ruin that you would take on
Got
that
it.
roll. Yeah.
All right.
That's one of the key tactical things of trophy combat is when to mark armor.
Okay.
Magda, keep it going.
I see this happening to Malkuth, and I jump in, swinging my sword wildly, almost a little bit frantically. And the sentry turns and takes a big swing. It doesn't hit that hard. And yet, when it hits this beautiful black iridescent armor that I'm wearing, that's all the pieces are sewn together by these, beautiful peacock feathers, it just falls apart. It just shatters. It was decorative and not useful as armor at all. Luckily, I'm okay, but now I have no armor.
Torum, you're not getting a hit, but you're in the fight. What does it look like?
Yeah, I think Torum is, because he's holding the mirror, he's taken by surprise with his weapon not in his hand, and he just manages to block a blow from one of these guardians by bringing his forearm up and catching the blade on his armor, and then is trying to break free so that he can get hold of his weapon and partake properly.
Cassian, you're not in the combat, strictly mechanically speaking, but you will notice over the shoulders of your comrades in this fight that the sentries that are further deeper into the throne room, one of them steps away from their post with their weapon drawn. They are getting ready to join the other two. What do you do?
I wonder if I can't chuck one of my glass bottles and hope to hit them in the face, at least to distract.
Yeah, I will let you take a risk roll to see how it goes, to distract them long enough to maybe give them a chance to end this fight before it joins. I think that's a great idea. It's a risk roll. What are you afraid? Or Jack, what could go wrong here?
These things are mindless, so it just is completely unfazed and keeps going.
You can take your first die because of the bottle itself. And Rob, do you have a devil's bargain?
I think, I don't know, can it be something like no matter what, you're drawn into vulnerable range of the combat?
Oh, so you can take hits, but you can't contribute any dice. Yeah. What do you think? What do you say, Cassian?
That sounds terrible. I'm in.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a weak point.
A 6.
6. Okay. And let's go ahead and get this risk roll done. I think it's going to be a risk I think I'm going to make you do a dark as well because of you are kind of still near where the fight is happening. And I think because you're cold to the bone and chilled and you're in this particularly cold place, I'm going to add another dark die to your risk roll.
A 6 light.
6 light, lucky you. Please describe how you, temporarily at least, distract the third one from joining the fray.
I think Cassian just reaches behind himself. Is Editha back on his back?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Editha's there. And if you get Editha into position, that's a way you could participate in the combat, possibly.
Yeah.
It's
as
another
he's
weak
doing
point,
that,
but.
Oh, sure. Goody, another 6. As he's moving to get Editha in position, he'll just say, "My bag, a bottle, quickly." And she'll hand it to him, and he will just chuck it at the guard who's coming and say, "The battle will soon be joined. Hurry, friends."
Per the rules, if you ever have multiple weak points, they must be different dice, so you have to roll a different one. You gotta roll again.
A 1.
Okay, so 6 and a 1 are your problem numbers, but you will get Editha's die on this next combat roll. That one sentry stops and does not join the fray, so they're still at endurance 10, and they do not have the help of their third companion. Magda, you can do the combat. It'll now be a combat 5 with Editha. That'll do it. 3 5s. It's well, it's 2 5s are the high, so that will defeat the 2. There is a 2 in there though, which I think is a problem for.
That's a big problem.
Is that a big problem for Magda?
That's a big problem.
Oh, it is the worst problem, isn't it, Magda?
No.
Yeah, it sure is.
It sure is. Malkuth, why don't you kick off, Malkuth? What's going on?
So I managed to secure one of the obsidian halberds and just shove the sentinel off of me. But there's a second one that brings his halberd down, and I'm not even looking. I just sort of like have this instinctual connection to my amulet of protection, which I'm going to mark. But it flashes that red flash around my body and strikes it and sort of bounces off of it just a bit. But then I just sort of shoulder check him, and try to get him away from me.
Torum, keep it going.
Yeah, I think Torum doesn't even manage to get his sword out. He kind of lowers his head and just bull charges one of these things right into a wall and crushes it against some masonry, and then only then turns to see what is happening with Magda.
Magda, I think you see the remaining sentry has got Cassian dead for rights. And I think it's very poetic, the fact that you just had a conversation about saving companions. This sentry's going to take Cassian's head clean off. What do you do?
I have an idea, and if you don't want to go for it, Jason, that's fine. But I think Magda sees this happening and is kind of having a quick moment of flashback to the conversation she just had with Cassian, and of coming across Benna's dead body and knowing there was nothing she did then. She was asleep the whole time. And I think she just goes into a white hot rage and charges towards this sentry with her sword, driving it through the being as hard as it can, all the way to the hilt. And when she pulls it out, that's when she realizes that she has a dagger stuck deep within her ribs from the sentry, having retaliated, having heard her scream as she made her way towards it. And she stumbles backwards and falls down, kind of holding the wound closed, seeing the blood seep out. I think we have our way of bargaining with the games master. We could switch spots. I'm not long for this world. I could take on that role. And then maybe the games master will owe you. Get you out of here so you could inform my betrothed of my fate.
The sentries are no longer a danger. The third one resumes its spot. It was just backup. And so now there are 6 around the throne. Magda is certainly not long for the world. The wound is too deep. And indeed, this obsidian blade seems to have a property that makes the wound, it's making the wound like essentially tear open faster. There's not much time here.
Cassian will just be flabbergasted, just standing, shaking his head, and then he'll kind of snap to and say, "Torum, pick her up quickly."
Yes.
Which way was it, Malkuth? How did you get here?
I just walked. And then I don't know if it's going to take a hot roll, but I'd like to try and find the safest way back to get us. Is the plan to go back to the games warden, or?
I mean, all you have to do is retrace your steps, because there is a path directly from the games, the Hall of Games, to the Masquerade Garden.
Okay.
That's what was the Masquerade Garden or the Hall of Games has that beaded curtain. You go beyond that beaded curtain, and then the tunnels or the
Got it.
hallways there. So yeah, you can certainly. I think especially because you have paths, I think you can work your way back. Yeah,
Okay.
easily. No trouble. Actually, I think it'll be a risk roll to get
Okay.
back, to navigate back. But you have the paths skill, and I think that will help you.
Okay.
I think the worst that can happen here, and I'm just gonna say this is what's gonna happen if you fail. Magda just dies on the way. And so you've got one light die. Amanda, would you like to offer a devil's bargain?
No matter what, the great Bazo is going to hold you responsible for some reason.
I don't know if I can have that level of guilt on me. I will. So this is a dark die, right? I get one light.
You get one light
skills,
if you,
and then one for the risk,
and then one light for you get one light for the skill. You get one light if you accept this devil's bargain. And I don't think there's inherently a dark die here.
Okay,
You're not risking anything.
that was my question.
Yeah.
I will go with the devil's bargain.
Although I will say you have a lot of conditions. You have mourning for Bana, which feels weirdly relevant in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
You have also frostbitten and cold to the bone, which probably is going to make it difficult to navigate with a clear head, given everything that's going on.
Yeah,
I think I want you to add a dark die as well.
All right, I will re-roll.
5 light, you get it. The complication here, this plant, you're gonna be able to work your way back. The complication, though, is Magda, strictly speaking, has to be defeated in a game by the games warden for the collar to pass. As a player, Jack, if you're okay with that, then we'll let it ride. Otherwise, you got to add dark die to try again.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Go ahead and describe how you safely get back to the games hall.
I think with Torum right behind, carrying Magda, and Kazian at the rear, it's sort of just a mad dash back up the stairs. And I don't think I think the Fey orgy is still going on, so they're completely distracted by us. And so we just sort of circumvent that and just sort of burst through that beaded curtain, panting. But it's that weird panting where you're somewhere icy cold and you're also like adrenaline, your body's like adrenaline heated, so it's like creating this almost steam coming off of us. So we just sort of burst in, and games warden.
He's like, "Oh, you're back."
Yeah, and he'll step aside and reveal.
You're actually going to help me get out of here. You're going to fulfill your end of the bargain. This is amazing. Your friend there doesn't look too well.
She made an offer.
That offer is
Magda conscious enough to say what it is? Or
I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think she's probably kind of going in and out. I will take your place, and you will help my friends. And that is the offer.
I certainly appreciate that. There is a lot of subtle thinking going on there based off the look of you, and I have to respect that. Unfortunately, the terms of my confinement require me to defeat someone in a game, and I'm terrible at games. Unless they are games that involve the writing of songs. That's what I was in my former life. I was a bard. I wrote fabulous tales of adventurers and kings and queens, and perhaps you've heard some of my... Well, anyway, there's not enough time. So we could sing a song.
Yes.
And if mine is judged the better of the songs, then I pass my obligation to you.
Who is to be the judge?
And just the group is fine. No cheating. We know what happens when you cheat.
I only cheat when it's to help. And Magda starts to sing a new song about Magda's exploits, and it is called Magda and Her Friends from the Scoundrel's Quarter. And it's a retelling of the adventures that we have had, all the wonderful moments and the scary moments and the funny moments. And she gets quieter as she goes and sort of trails off near the end, doesn't finish it.
Maybe that's why she loses on a technicality, right? Yeah. The Syrah, that's his name, he can tell what's going on here, and he composes a very good song on the fly about a brave warrior woman who made a terrific sacrifice for her companions. And though she was somewhat dim, she was kind. And no doubt her tales will be sung in the ale halls of the multiverse for all time. Syrah says, I believe I win on the simple technicality that I completed my song. And if everyone agrees, he is able to remove the crystal collar and he puts it around Magda's neck. And I think we'll just have this scene here at the end of all things with Magda.
I think that might be my best song yet. Certainly better than Magda and the giant fungus. Even I can admit that.
That was a really funny one, though.
I will see that it is sung when we return.
It will never stop echoing through the alleys of the Scoundrel's Corner.
Cassian, thank you for keeping your word. It does mean a lot.
Thank you for not dying, Magda.
Well, I might have to break that one.
No. No, never.
I am ready to go. I've been here for far too long. What is your plan for getting us out of here? Editha will explain the Ardkin situation to him. And he says, I know the Bone Ship Ardkin very well. It's a trap. It's what the Rhymecourt nobles use to bring people here. They listen to all your lurid tales for their own amusement. Curiously, and perhaps helpfully, the way to get back is you have to do the opposite of what it takes to get here. Instead of saying something terrible that lies in your heart, you must express vulnerability aloud. You must express goodness and kindness. You must say the things that you would not normally say for fear of embarrassment. That will take you back to wherever you need to be.
We should get going then. And when he says that, he's looking at Magda, and I think he's got a little bit of a a twinkle in his eye.
Yeah, I think she passed while the game master Sarah was explaining how to get out.
Do we just see her at the great table, kind of slumped down with the crystal collar? Indeed. Melkuth, I want to memorialize this basso thing with a condition, if you'll just note that, please. And maybe that's how you all get back. Maybe Basso comes up from not retrieving Tekla's body, and you actually see him out across a parapet, and he can lead you back to Ardkin. Is there anything you want to do before you go back to Ardkin?
Not really.
You really should loot Magda's body. She
Well,
would want you
obviously,
to.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, loot Magda's body. We can handle that when we do Hearthfire, but anything else before we go to Ardkin? Very well.
I think perhaps Torm might just say a farewell to Lady Peril and thank her for the gift.
Indeed. Do you want that scene?
I think we can just assume.
we can make
Unless
our best
you've got something
guesses. No,
unless you've got
no.
something specific you want to do.
No, it's fine. You're on Ardkin, which is on the bridge with all those antlers and horns and things, and the moths. Editha, you haul Editha up. Sarah Morris climbs up. And he says, well, I'll get us started. And he declares aloud, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I fell in love with one of you while we were playing games. And he's looking, and as the smoke begins to fill the ribcage of Ardkin, he breathes a sigh of relief because it means he doesn't have to say who. And he says, oh, good. Very pleasant, like strawberries and wine. Hurry, say your embarrassing truth.
I've carried a murderer on my back for hours now in the hopes that she will attain retribution and a second chance.
Editha kind of nods and she's like, huh, okay. And what does the smoke smell like, Cassian?
The first snow of a season.
What color is it? White?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Malkuth, what's your admission?
I think he's sort of just looking back at like the exit to the ship and just sort of in that haze, thinking about what he's supposed to say, but it's kind of hard because he can only think about what just happened with Magda. But I think he says, I wish I was more like Magda in a lot of ways. She has a bravery and a determination that I don't have, and I wish I did. And I wish that she were here with us. And Bana too, and not really Tekla, but definitely wish both of them were here.
This from the top rope dissing of Tekla. Editha says, well, I will speak of Tekla. She was somewhat high strung, from what I could gather from the short amount of time that I knew her. But I admired her intelligence and her desire to learn and to know. I've spent all my life around people who are always trying to find the shortest route to their destination, usually riches. But I think Tekla wanted more out of this world, and I hope wherever she ended up, if she's not just floating endlessly in the void of the Gossamer Void, screaming in terror for centuries as her body does not decompose.
Okay, get on with it, please.
And indeed. What about the smoke? What colors are our smokes here? What do they smell like?
I think Malkuth's is like a pale gold, sort of similar to the gold that Bazo is. And I think it smells like it smells like fresh cut grass, which is weird. I mean, he's not quite sure what that is, but I think he suspects it might have something to do with their time at Hester's Mill.
Very well. Torum, did you speak a truth?
I did not yet, no. Torum says, I saw much at the Rhine Palace. As you have all seen, I have strength and patience. But my greatest wish is to have the grace and beauty of those inhabitants of the Fey realm.
And what does your smoke look and smell like?
I think it's a pale blue, and it smells of the cold ice of the Rhine Palace.
Torum, you presumably didn't come from Fort Durin, or maybe you did. I don't know. You might not even be from the world that these other characters came from. Are you content to go back to Fort Durin? What is your drive? I guess you must come from this world because your drive implicates that much. So Fort Durin it is, I think.
I would like to make a small retcon. Instead of fresh cut grass, my pale golden smoke smells like butter.
Ah, indeed. I think, as before, it's as if the Rhyme Palace falls away from you rather than you flying away from the Rhyme Palace. And indeed, you don't know when or how it happened, but you all just find yourself on the King's Road that goes to Fort Durin. Sarah Morris says, well, I shall stop for a night in your lovely border outpost, but then I am off back to Amberette. It was wonderful getting to know you all, especially one of you in particular.
Can I make a hunt roll to see who he's talking about?
No. Editha has rooms in Fort Durin, so you can drop her off there. And the rest of you can make your way back. I think we'll do Hearthfire next week, and then we'll switch gears a little bit. But let's just go ahead and end on Stars and Wishes, and with the Rhyme Palace concluded.
I wish to believe that Magda, after we left, sits up because the Rhyme Palace needs a game warden and begins to refine her tactics at Chutes and Ladders.
Stars for all of the embarrassing secrets that everybody had on the arc, and at the end they were all really good. They were really good. A really different insight, into what your character feels is an admission of something embarrassing, and I think everybody really nailed it. It was really excellent. I loved all the characters' interactions with the Fae nobles. They were just really on point for your characters. How Torum was very sort of stoic and still like, I'm a large kind of scary man, but I can dance, that sort of thing. And Kazian was, I don't want to do this, but I have to. And Malkuth is just being a little bit of a weirdo. And it was just, stars for all of you for really playing into those wonderful character moments. And the Rhyme Palace had a lot of them that I really, really enjoyed. Stars to Jason for rolling with a lot of the character scenes, the character things that were happening in the last few episodes, because I think that isn't necessarily easy to do in a trophy game. It's a little bit more dungeon delvy, but the Rhyme Palace just lends its hand towards doing things like that so well. So it was, stars for everybody.
I'll give it. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Jack.
No, I was just going to say my first star is to Amanda for that really clever sort of switch and using your downfall to sort of create this really intense emotional moment. That was really good, and I'm glad we were able to do it. It's just definitely it's like sad episode though. I think for all the ribbing that Magna got, I think that everyone still cared about each other and still cared about her. And so it's going to be definitely a different dynamic going forward without her. But I kind of echoing what Amanda said about Torum. I like that you're taking moments to sort of subvert the like hulking barbarian trope, kind of using the mirror in this sort of logical way, and not just
it's actually like Conan as he's depicted in the books, right? I mean, in the books he's very clever and yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Jack.
No, it's fine. And then Kazian always feels like the and pardon the phrase, but straight man out of the group, just because it's I think we all have these sort of like not necessarily big but definitely eclectic personalities, and so he very much keeps scenes grounded, and I really appreciate that because I'm not going to be the one to do it, so I'm glad you are. And then Jason, I just this felt like a very different incursion. I've never played it before, but I do like a lot of the social aspects and getting to sort of flex those muscles again, especially with someone like Malkuth, who is, he went underground for a reason because he doesn't know how to deal with people. And so I think putting him, especially in this situation for me, was kind of an interesting test.
Yeah, I think big star to Amanda just for the whole character of Magda over the last 14 or 15 sessions. She was really engaging, just I really enjoyed playing off her when I was Benar and he was teasing her and calling her Saint Magda all the time, and just this kind of constant ridiculous song title game that she played was really fun. and yeah, that was a very fitting send off for her. And I'm excited to see who replaces Magda in the group. Although I guess we're jumping to Trophy Dark next, presumably.
We'll see. Who knows?
And yeah, and a big star for the incursion. I have played this one before, but I don't know that we ever finished it because I don't remember anything past the game warden part. So it was I really enjoyed the section with the party and the dancing, and that really gave me an opportunity which I hadn't planned to bring out this connection with Torrens Drive. So that was a lot of fun. Gave me a lot of insight into how to steer that character.
Star for the send off to Magda from both Amanda and Jason. The songs that you both constructed were great, and I got a little misty there. This was a good, brief but really punchy session. We got a lot of character beats, a lot of action, a lot of oh no moments, and then a really big oh no. It was great. Looking forward to seeing where things go next.
Yeah,
and also wish sorry,
okay.
Cassian just totally left Sir Quest hanging there. That might be fun to bring back up at some point.
We'll see. Yeah, stars. I thought Magda's end was really dramatic and cool. I like the idea of Magda's death leading to the purpose of getting everybody back to Fort Duran. I thought that was really great because I don't think it was totally clear how that was going to happen otherwise. This song, the song duel was so fitting for Magda, and it was very, very emotional. I was really sad about it, and I'm gonna miss Magda. Magda was a great character. She was so fun, and there was a real certain energy that she brought to the group, and there was so much. She came pre-built with legend, right? And now she's even more of a legend. So yeah, it was really fun. I'm happy we got I'm sad to see her go, but we got a good 14, 15 sessions with her, so that's great. I noticed you never collected anything for your horde, which is that's Magda. Yeah, she died as she lived, no doubt her hoard ended up in the coffers of some ale house in Fort Duran.
My real hoard is the butter sculpture that I have
exactly.
above the goat pen.
Indeed. Gerald, what are we gonna do with Gerald? That's my wish. What are we gonna do with Gerald now? And that'll be curious to see if he gets adopted by someone. I'm also very curious to see what kind of character Amanda's gonna make again. Are you going to pick up an NPC and make them your new character, or are you going to make a brand new character? There are some choice NPCs if you wanted to. I mean, I think well, I don't want to say too much about Tannen. I mean, Tannen's, I guess, theoretically dead, but it's not totally clear what's going on with Tannen. Sarah Morris, that would be kind of ironic. The games warden. There's some opportunities there. There's your betrothed comes to collect your dowry and joins the party. Who knows, right? There could be some fun things there if you want to keep that connection to Magda, or you can make someone totally different. That's also perfectly fine. But yeah, great session. The Rhine Palace is so interesting because we actually towards the end got some dungeon crawl elements in there, which I thought was great. And you didn't get to do quite everything in the Rhine Palace. There was a couple of things you could have done, especially there at the end. The vast majority of the treasure is right there at the end. But you all seem to, it's probably okay since I think Magda's spoils are going to probably help you all out in terms of meeting burdens. But we got to see a lot of it, and it was a really interesting. What I thought was really something I found really interesting, which I know wasn't intentional on your part, but it just worked out nicely. Is this Incursion has a theme of like fragility. Let me look it up. It's like fragility or yeah, fragility. And we see that a lot in the physical space of like things cracking and crumbling and, you know, ice sculptures, you know, crumbling and all this other stuff. And the bones in the bone piles, you know, crunching under boot. But also there's this idea of fragility of like, of, because you have to make these confessions, right? On Ardkin, you know, like you have to kind of make yourself somewhat vulnerable. But I also thought it was really interesting that we got this like, there was like sort of this like party dynamic fragility that was kind of working in too, especially vis-a-vis the dead, the characters that were lost previously and who should have done what or whatever. So I just thought all that was very, very interesting. I thought it all kind of came out in a really cool way. Yeah, I liked it a lot. But yeah, I think that's all I've got. Are there any other stars or wishes?
I will adopt Gerald if you need someone to.
Indeed. Well, we'll just end with a quick scene, a follow-up from last time. We see one of those strange starry wolves, those wolves that are like, their bodies are like black star-filled sky. This wolf is chasing this beetle. The beetle is running down the halls of the Rhyme Palace. The wolf occasionally noses it and it crawls away. And this goes on for some time. And eventually the chase ends when the beetle crawls into the Hall of Games. And we'll just stop there. We'll wave goodbye to everybody on the call. Goodbye, everyone.